Okay, let's get into your reading, Virgo. Okay, I feel like this young person is absolutely obsessed with you. The energy here is one of yin and yang, and I want to explain that a little more before we go any further, loves, because it's the whole foundation of what's coming through today. Two energies seemingly different on the surface, built to balance and complete each other rather than clash. That is exactly the dynamic between the two of you. Now, we've got these two sphinx here. These two sphinx, okay, actually represent Tao, and Tao represents yin and yang. Now, in the history of tarot as well, let's get that Chariot card out. The Chariot. I really feel here like this young person is someone that feels more emotionally connected to you than they've ever felt to anyone else in their life. They feel more emotionally drawn and connected to you than anyone else. And they always feel like they need to do more towards you. They need to give you more. They need to communicate with you more. They need to invite you places more. They need to give, do, be a lot more than what they've done towards anyone else. They feel like both of you are a better match than anyone they have met before, okay? So I really feel like this young person has emotionally got you in a place in their heart that they've never opened up towards anyone else. And I want to sit with that for a moment, loves, because most people carry a well-worn path to their heart, a familiar route they've let people walk before. This is different. This is new ground, cleared specifically for you, never walked by anyone else. I want you to sit with what that actually means, loves. Because being someone's first real emotional opening carries a different kind of weight than being one more person in a long line of them. There's no comparison happening in their mind. There's no measuring you against someone who came before. You are simply the first and the only. The King of Cups. And I also see that here with the King of Cups. This young person emotionally, mentally feels more towards you than they've ever felt towards anyone else in their life. They feel so drawn to you, so connected to you, so obsessed with you on an emotional level that they literally think to themselves, I can become more emotionally available for you. I can become more emotionally consistent for you. I can become more emotionally mature for you. Because one thing I see is that if they wanted to, they would. And guess what? This young person knows that you are the kind of person that will not tolerate emotional inconsistency. And so this young person is like, well, for you, I would be the best, do the best, emotionally listen to you, be consistent, be understanding, be respectful. For you, I would do these things. And I want you to hear the significance of that list, loves. Listen, be consistent, be understanding, be respectful. Those aren't grand romantic gestures. They're the unglamorous daily commitments that actually hold a relationship together long after the excitement of something new has settled. Why? Because they feel more for you than they've ever felt for anyone else. And you know, in life, sometimes when certain people feel a certain way for others, when they find someone they're wowed by, they would do things that they wouldn't usually do for anyone else. Okay. And that's the kind of energy that I'm picking up on in regards to this young person towards you. They would do things for you that they've not done for anyone else. And I want to say why that specific phrase matters so much, loves. Because past relationships often leave a trail of what a person was actually willing to give. If this young person genuinely didn't stretch themselves like this before, then the stretching itself is the proof. It isn't a general capacity for love. It's a specific response to you. And I'm talking like emotional level, okay, which is hard for them. I feel like the emotional aspect of things is quite hard for this young person. Like they find it very hard to sort of deal with. And I want to honor how significant that specific effort actually is, loves. Because when the emotional side of life feels genuinely difficult for someone, choosing to push through that discomfort for you specifically is one of the clearest signals of real love there is. Most people loves. When something feels genuinely hard, simply avoid it. They retreat into old patterns, old comfort zones, rather than stretching themselves for someone else's benefit. This young person is choosing the harder road specifically for you, and that choice deserves to be recognized as exactly what it is. Real love loves, and its younger, sometimes clumsier expressions doesn't always look polished or perfectly articulate. Sometimes it looks like someone awkwardly trying, failing a little, and trying again anyway. That effort, imperfect as it may be, is worth so much more than eloquent words from someone who never actually has to try. The Six of Pentacles. And then we have here the Six of Pentacles. Okay. So the Six of Pentacles here represents and resembles the fact that this young person here really believes, again, it's very similar to what I said, that there's something really special between you and them. Okay, there's something really, really special between both of you. And they feel really, really drawn to you. They feel very, very connected to you. They really appreciate you. They really like you. They feel like there's a balance and there's a harmony and there's a synchronicity between you both. And that they just need to be a little bit more equal, a little bit more mutual, and do a little bit more. The Eight of Pentacles. I also feel here, especially with the Eight of Pentacles again, this is that sense of I need to do more. I need to put more effort, more work into things. I need to pursue. I need to listen. I need to do. They know what they have to do, okay? Is this young person in love with you? Let's ask this question. Yeah. The Magician. The fact that the Magician came out when I said that is huge because number one, it's major arcana. And number two, it's about wanting to do something. And also this young person is the kind of person that would bring a lot to the table here. Okay. Basically, they're going to bring a lot more to the table than they already have. The other thing as well is that they love the fact that you bring so much and you do so much. One of the reasons they are so heavily, heavily obsessed and in love with you is that you do so much and you bring so much to the table. Okay, we've got all of the elements here on the table. We've got the cup, which is the emotional side. We have the wand, which is the physical side. We have the sword, which is the spiritual side, and we have the pentacle, which is the mental side. As in, you're not mental, but you bring a lot of good mentality. You bring respect. You're very humble. You're very kind, grounded, optimistic. You always try to find solutions. And I want you to notice something about that word solutions, loves, because it's easy to overlook. A lot of people bring problems to the table, or bring complaints, or bring drama. You bring the exact opposite. And someone who has been surrounded by chaos before recognizes a solution-oriented person instantly and treasures them accordingly. Think about how rare that solution-oriented energy actually is, loves. In a world where so many people are quick to complain, quick to spiral, quick to make a small problem feel enormous. You don't do that. You show up steady, looking for the way through. And that steadiness is a gift they probably didn't even know they were missing until they met you. And I want to say, loves, that steadiness is rarer than people think, especially in a young person still figuring out how to navigate their own emotional world. Finding someone who doesn't add to the noise, but quietly cuts through it instead, feels like finding solid ground after years of shifting sand. The cup energy is the emotional bit, which is the fact that you always do, you always give, you always talk, you always understand, you support, right? You express. The sword aspect of the spirituality. You're very kind of aware of yourself, your circumstances. You're aware of people, you're aware of learning and growth. And then we also have the wand. You're very attractive, right? And you speak well. you mean well, you do well. So they feel like you bring so much to the table. They are so attracted to everything that you bring to the table because you do, you say, you are, you give, you do so many things. You give so much. You do so much. You are such a kind person. They are obsessed with that because, they really feel like it's so amazing that you give so much and you do so much and you try your best and you do your best, and all of these things. The Page of Pentacles, and then also on top of that as well, the Page of Pentacles here goes to show that they feel like you're a very supportive person. So one of the reasons why they are madly in love with you is because you bring so much to the table. And I want to name why that first reason matters so completely, loves. Because bringing so much to the table isn't about being flashy or performing your worth. It's about the quiet, consistent fact that you actually show up fully in every single one of these 4 ways. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. Most people manage 1 or 2. You carry all 4. The second reason here that they are really obsessed with you is because it's literally just what I said, to be honest, right? It's this energy here of just, you are so supportive, and they really feel like that is something so rare in this world, someone that's supportive through ups and downs. So they feel like you are so unbelievably supportive and so unbelievably kind and sort of gracious in that sense. They feel like you are the kind of person they can grow with, okay? They can grow with, they can be with, they can live life with, and they feel really grateful to know somebody like you and somebody of your stature. And I want to say something about that word, stature, loves, because it isn't about height or status or anything external like that. It's about the size of your character, the weight of your presence in a room. You carry yourself in a way that makes people feel lucky just to know you. And this young person feels exactly that. And I want you to notice, loves, how differently gratitude lands when it comes from someone younger, someone still learning what real love actually looks like. They don't have decades of relationships to compare you against, diluting the impact. You are in many ways shaping their entire understanding of what a good, healthy connection feels like. So that's what we see here, okay? They are obsessed with you for 2 specific reasons. And I want you to really let those 2 things settle, loves, because they are not vague, general compliments. What you bring to the table and how supportive you are, to concrete, specific truths about who you actually are, not a fantasy version of you they've invented. And I want you to hold on to that difference, loves, because so many relationships fall apart when the fantasy someone built in their head doesn't match the actual person standing in front of them. That risk simply doesn't exist here. This young person fell for the real you, the actual everyday version, which means there's nothing eventually to be disappointed by. You don't have to keep up an image, loves, or manage some curated version of yourself to hold their attention. The version already fully seen and fully loved is simply you on an ordinary day doing ordinary things. And they feel like, there's just this really beautiful energy of them feeling like, for you, I would step up. For you, I would do more. For you, I would swim the 7 seas kind of energy. Like this young person would put in a lot of effort for you, okay? Only for you. And they do have love for you because you got the Angel of Venus actually on top of this particular card. And the Angel of Venus here is quite powerful because it's supporting an energy that is to do with the fact that this sort of, it's the fog that's clearing. Okay, the fog is clearing. They were overwhelmed at points. They were unsure at points. They were a bit confused at points. But they've realized that you've always been consistent. You've always been consistently supportive. You've always been consistently expressive. always consistently communicated, and they're starting to realize as time goes by, they have seen your consistency, and your consistency is something that just hasn't shifted. You haven't just suddenly decided, oh, I'm going to just randomly do this, or, like Uranus energy, like be very sudden, dramatic, or, there's just something that happens very drastically. No, you've always been very, very consistent. And that's something that they are obsessed with when it comes to you. And that goes along the lines of support. When we think of support and who's been there, we usually think of the people that have consistently been there for us. And so this young person is starting to realize, oh my God, you've consistently been there. You've been consistently communicative or proactive or checking up on me, or been doing your best in accordance to where the connection is at, right? So it's that kind of energy. Now, whether you're not talking to this young person, or if you are talking to this young person, it's about, like when you were in conversation and in communication, they always felt like you were always meaning well and wanting well for them. And so that's what I'm seeing here, and they just have really found that to be a very admirable thing and very, very drawn to you because of that. And I want to say something about that word admirable, loves, because it carries a different weight than simply liked or even loved. Admiration means they look up to something in you, not just wanting you, but actually respecting the way you carry yourself through this connection. That admiration, loves, is what actually lasts long after initial attraction fades. Attraction alone burns fast and dims quickly. Admiration is slower, steadier, the kind of thing that only deepens with time instead of wearing thin. And that's a genuinely reassuring thing to know, loves, because you're not building this connection on a foundation that's already at its peak with nowhere left to go but down. You're building on something still growing, still finding its own depth. The Empress. And then we also have here Empress. So this is about growth. The Empress here really represents the fact that, again, they feel like you are the most loving person. We've got, again, Venus energy. Okay, Venus energy, angel of Venus at the top there. This Venus energy is about them feeling like you are the best thing that has ever happened to them. They feel so drawn to you. They feel so connected to you. They feel so appreciative towards you and your energy. They feel like, wow, I feel so grateful. I feel so blessed to have come across somebody like you, okay? And I want you to picture that gratitude in a real ordinary moment, loves. Not a big grand gesture, but something small, like watching you laugh at something silly or seeing you help someone without being asked. Those are the moments this young person actually thinks, I can't believe I get to know this person. That quiet, private gratitude is worth more than any dramatic declaration ever could be. Because anyone can say beautiful words in the heat of a moment, loves, caught up in a feeling that may or may not last. But this specific gratitude, quiet, private, arriving in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, is the kind that actually reveals how someone truly feels underneath everything else. And I'm telling you, this young person wants to work on things with you. They want to progress things along with you because they see you as life partner material. They see you as the one. They see you as the one that they can be with, grow with, progress things with, make things work with. They really feel like you are the one, and that you are so powerful, and you are so attractive, and you are so, amazing. They literally feel like you are the most important person, and they feel so connected to you and so drawn to you, and they genuinely appreciate you so wholeheartedly. And I want to name why life partner material is such a specific phrase, loves, because it isn't the same as simply enjoying someone's company. It means they've already mentally run through what a real future with you would actually look like, and every version of it felt good to them. That kind of imagining doesn't happen casually. It happens when someone has quietly decided you're worth building toward. And for a young person specifically, loves, imagining a real future with someone often feels bigger and more vulnerable than it might for someone older. They haven't yet built up the protective distance that comes with experience. When they let themselves imagine a life with you, they're doing it fully, without the usual guardrails. The Queen of Swords, especially here with the Queen of Swords, they feel like you have a lot of courage. You have boundaries. You have standards. You're not a pushover. You're someone that has to be respected, and they feel like they have to respect you. Otherwise they'll never, ever find someone like this ever again. And I want you to feel the power in that, loves, because it flips the usual dynamic entirely. You are not the one who needs to prove yourself worthy of them. They know on some level that losing you would be the far greater loss. And I want to be honest, loves, this kind of clarity is rare in a young person still figuring out love. Most people that age haven't yet learned to recognize real value when it's standing in front of them. This young person has, which tells you something important about their own maturity. Whatever their age actually is, they see you as someone who is very sure of themselves. Look, even if you're not sure of yourself, remember, this is how they see you. They feel like you are very sure of yourself, and they love when you are confident, okay? Anytime you feel not so confident, they love when you are so confident about yourself and you know your attitude in life, like how you are as a person. They find that so attractive. So if you feel like you have self-critical issues, or you don't feel confident, trust me, be confident, because that makes you so much more attractive, okay? Not just for the other person, but it uplifts your energy for you as well, okay? So that is that. And I want to close this section by reminding you, loves, confidence is not the same as arrogance. You are not being asked to perform certainty you don't feel. You are simply being reminded that the version of you who already trusts herself, fully, quietly, without needing anyone's approval, is exactly the version this young person fell for in the first place. Hold on to her, loves, especially on the days she feels harder to find. She is the one who started this whole story, and she deserves to be the one who carries it forward. And I want to sit with that last piece for a moment, loves, because it isn't only about them. The Queen of Swords sitting here is a quiet reminder that your own confidence was never meant to be a performance for someone else's benefit. It is yours first. And the fact that it also happens to draw them closer is simply a beautiful byproduct of you finally standing fully in your own worth. So many of you, loves, have been taught to shrink your confidence to make other people comfortable, to soften your standards, to lower your expectations, just so you wouldn't seem too much. This reading is telling you plainly you were never too much. You simply hadn't yet met someone capable of matching your actual size. And before the final message, I want to leave you with 3 small things to hold on to, loves. The first, you don't have to prove either of those 2 reasons all over again. What you bring to the table and how supportive you are already fully seen. You don't need to work harder to earn what you're already being loved for. I know old habits are hard to break, loves, especially the habit of feeling like you have to keep proving your value over and over just to hold on to it. Rest that habit here. This particular love was never conditional on you performing anything extra. Let it simply be steady, loves, the way a good thing should feel, without the anxious edge of wondering if you have to keep earning it. The second, let their effort actually register when it shows up. The Chariot and King of Cups both showed someone stretching outside their comfort zone specifically for you. Notice it. Don't dismiss it as small. Small gestures from someone who finds emotional expression genuinely difficult, loves, often carry more weight than grand ones from someone for whom it comes easily. A text checking in, a small effort to communicate more clearly. Receive those as the significant moments they actually are. And the third, keep holding your boundaries exactly as you already do. The Queen of Swords confirmed this is precisely what they respect most. Softening that now would only take away the very thing that drew them in. And I know the instinct sometimes loves, once you feel truly loved, is to relax your standards a little just to keep the peace. Resist that instinct here. Your boundaries were never the obstacle. They were the exact thing that convinced this young person you were worth the effort in the first place. And I want to answer one more thing before the final message, loves. Why this reached you now, with this much specific detail. You needed to see the full shape of this before it becomes obvious in your everyday life, so that when the small signs of their effort start showing up, you recognize them fully instead of overlooking them. A small change in tone during a conversation, loves. A slightly longer message than usual. An effort to check in more consistently. These are exactly the fragments this reading is preparing you to notice, rather than dismiss as coincidence. And I want to speak to the small doubting part of you for a moment, loves. The one that's read all of this and is quietly thinking, but what if I'm imagining how much they actually feel? That voice is not wisdom. It's a pattern built from being underestimated before, trying to protect you from hoping too much. Just for tonight, loves. Set that voice down completely. I don't build a reading with this much specific detail, loves, unless the pull toward it was genuinely strong. The cards agreed with each other, every single one pointing in the exact same direction. That consistency deserves your trust. This is already in motion, loves. The Chariot and King of Cups showed feelings deeper than they've ever felt for anyone else. The Six of Pentacles and Eight of Pentacles showed their own recognition that more effort is needed and coming. The Magician confirmed real intention behind all of it. The Empress showed the gratitude and growth already blossoming. And the Queen of Swords confirmed your own boundaries are exactly what keeps them devoted. Stay steady, loves. Let it arrive. And I want to remind you, loves, you don't have to do anything dramatic to receive this. You don't have to force it, chase it, or perform readiness you don't actually feel yet. Your only job right now is to notice it when it shows up and let it in a little more each day. So let me lay this all out one final time, loves, slowly so it settles into your bones. Someone is madly in love with you for two clear, specific reasons. The Chariot and King of Cups confirmed they feel more for you than they've ever felt for anyone else. The Six of Pentacles and Eight of Pentacles confirmed they already know they need to give more and are ready to. The Magician confirmed real, deliberate intention behind everything they feel. The Page of Pentacles and everything on that table confirmed the first reason, everything you bring emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and your own consistency and support confirmed the second, the rare, steady presence they've never found in anyone else. And every single card in this spread, loves, agreed with every other card. No confusion, no contradiction. Just one clear, steady story of someone falling deeply and staying that way. The Empress confirmed the gratitude and growth blossoming in them because of you. And the Queen of Swords confirmed your own boundaries and confidence are exactly what keeps them this devoted. And I want you to sit with this final image for a second, loves. A young person who has already decided quietly, privately, that you are the one worth doing the harder emotional work for. Not because they had to, but because you were worth it. One message: keep being exactly who you already are. That is the whole reason this is happening. And I want to leave you with one final thought, loves, before we close completely. A year from now, or maybe far sooner than that, you're going to look back on this exact reading, the one where you weren't fully sure how deep any of this actually ran, and you're going to smile at how much you wondered, The way we always smile at old doubts once life has finally plainly answered them. Claim this, loves. Drop a comment and say, I know exactly why, because every word of that is true. Save this. Come back and tell me when you see it show up. I genuinely mean that, loves, not as a formality to close out a reading. Readings like this one only feel complete to me once I hear how they actually landed in someone's real life. If this resonated, please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment, and tell me what hit hardest. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Bye, loves.